Welcome to Ground Control. Today's tip is regarding brushed motors and brushed speed controllers. And I normally work with brushless power systems, but I recently had a project I was working on where I was going to be using a brushed motor and ESC. And the receiver that I'm using is a receiver that I've used for 3 other projects. This is the 4th project I've used it for. But the problem I had was, and this seems to be an issue with several different brushed speed controllers, whether they're built into the receiver or whether they're external. A lot of people are having this problem, and I ran across this problem. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is I want to go ahead and bind this up. I had been working on this project, and I was bound up to the receiver, and all my servos and everything were working, but I had no throttle. I couldn't get the throttle to actuate. I thought maybe it was the motor, so I changed out the motor and still nothing. So I went back and looked at the receiver and inspected my solder points and stuff. Everything looked good. There were no shorts. So I couldn't figure out what was going on, and then finally it came to me that the brushed speed controller must be detecting positive throttle. You know, on a brushless power system, if you try and initialize the speed controller and you have positive throttle, it'll just sit there and beep at you. Unfortunately, the brushed speed controller does not give any beep codes, so you don't know what's going on. It just, as far as you know, it's dead. So I'll show you in a minute exactly how I solved that issue, but first I want to show you that I'm bound to this with a transmitter. You can see that the ailerons are moving, the elevator's moving, the rudder is moving, and now if I give it throttle, nothing. Throttle's dead. I have nothing on the throttle stick whatsoever. Okay, so that's the issue I ran into, and after I checked everything else, you know, there were no problems that I could find. So then it occurred to me that it was detecting positive throttle. Well, the only thing that I could do is bring my throttle trim all the way to the bottom. So I did that. And then I rebound to the receiver again. And as you can see, I have aileron control, elevator control, rudder, everything's working. And now, get my hand out of the way, and now, lo and behold, I have throttle. So that was in fact the issue, that when I was binding to this with the throttle trim in the 0 position, the brushed speed controller identified that center position on the throttle trim as positive throttle. I don't know why, but it did. And I've had this issue with two different receivers, 2 different manufacturers, 2 different receivers. Both of them had built-in brush speed controllers, but other people have contacted me and told me they were having the same thing with external brush speed controllers. So if you're working with a brushed power system and you can't get the throttle to work, putting your throttle trim all the way to the bottom, power off your receiver, power it back up again, rebind to your transmitter, and then check and see if you have throttle. Chances are that will fix your problem. So I hope this tip is helpful to you. So please give a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out our Patreon site. We have a lot of free content there as well. And I will see you in the air.